Okay. All right, I think we're going to get started here. Thanks to all of you who have joined us today for this fabulous occasion to celebrate the beginning of vertical construction on the first phase here at Hunter's View. 107 units of housing will be here in 18 months, and we are extremely excited. We are also excited that in the course of this process of creating these units, that residents that actually work here, that live here, are working here. And that's what we're extra excited about. And so if you would just bear with me for one moment, I have Mr. Leotis Martin standing next to me. Okay. So about a year and a half ago, on a very similar day to today, it was bright, it was sunny, it was wonderful views of San Francisco behind us. We were up there. Do you remember that, Leotis? We were up there, and we were launching the beginning of this construction process, okay? Leotis was there with a group of people that pushed us the way we expect residents to push us. Leotis was up there telling us that we needed to make sure that there were folks here that live on this development that were actually going to receive the jobs that were a part of this construction. I am excited to announce today that we had to pull Leotis off of the job to come up here with us today because Leotis is currently an employee with Cahill Nibby. Yes. Okay? Working on the site, has been working on the site since the beginning and is still working on the site and is a full employee of the site. And I just remember one thing when I was driving up right at Middle Point, West Point, and I saw Leotis walking back from work. And I don't know if you remember this, Leotis, but I said, Leotis, how are things going? He said, you know what? He said, Amy, you know, my life is pretty boring right now. And I said, why do you say that? Why are you saying that, Leotis? And he said, because I go to work, I come home, I watch TV, and I take care of my 4 kids, and that's what I do now, and I am just happy. So I will just, can we just give Leotis a, oh, thank you, Leotis. Thank you, you can say that. You're welcome. All right. All right. So good. I would like to say good morning to everyone. My name is Amy Tharp, and I'm the director of Hope SF from the Mayor's Office of Housing. Hope SF is an initiative here in the city where we're going to transform 8 public housing sites into mixed income communities. The Hope SF mission is very simple. It's very simple. And it's that we are equally committed to revitalizing the physical environment that we have here as we are to helping the residents here improve their lives. And in a time of so much bad economic news, we stand here today on this first Hope SF site to say that we have some good news. The good news is investing in low-income neighborhoods can be good for residents and can help the local economy. So we're here today, we're here on 8 acres. It eventually will be 28 acres, and we will eventually have up to 800 units of housing that goes here. So today we celebrate the start of the construction on the first 107 of those units. Today we celebrate the residents like Leotis Martin who live here, who have lived here for many years, like Tessie Esther, who's also been working in the community for many years. We celebrate those individuals because we want them to be a part of this development and to benefit from it as well. So with that, I would like to ask our supervisor for District 10 to join us, Supervisor Malia Cohen, to say a couple of words.
Thank you, thank you. Good morning, everyone. How are you? I'm very excited to be here to share another wonderful moment that's happening right here in our city and our county in San Francisco. And I just want to publicly acknowledge Amy Tharp Peterson, who's a friend of mine and a colleague, a woman that I admire greatly. We wouldn't be where we are without her help and her leadership. And I also would like to acknowledge other staff members that are here today. We've got commissioners here, we've got, of course, elected leaders, but I think what's really critical is that we have residents here that are working and taking ownership and building pride in the community that they're going to be living in the future. As Amy said, the revitalization of the Hunter's View comes from one of the city's most distressed public housing sites. From turning 800 units public housing units into 800 units of new mixed income housing to replace public housing. This success is largely in part due not only to our local leadership by Mayor Ed Lee, thank you, sir, but also former Mayor Gavin Newsom. Thank you, he deserves a little bit of love there, yes. But also to the result of the tireless leadership of Leader Pelosi. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for your outstanding leadership. We appreciate you for holding it down in Washington, D.C. and remembering us here up on Huntersview, up on the Hill. Whether it's securing funding for the cleanup of the Huntersview shipyard or funding for rebuild of public housing like Huntersview, your dedication to the residents of the Southeast sector has been unwavering for more than 2 decades. And as the elected leader, I just want to say a very strong and powerful, heartfelt thank you. Thank you very much. Few people in this day and age, particularly in this economic crunch, will have the guts to walk the same words that they speak. And you are walking the talk. And this project is also occurring with the support and involvement of residents. And I am very excited to introduce to you a man named Edwin M, who is also working on this project, who is also a resident. And without further ado, please give him a warm welcome, because this is a shining example of community working together. Mr. Edwin.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I count it an honor and indeed a pleasure to be here today to speak on what's been transpiring here up in Hunters Point and all the help that I received from the different communities, because when they first mentioned this, I didn't believe it would go anywhere. But I see now it made just a tremendous difference in the community. You know, it offered jobs, it put a lot of people to work, you know, a lot of different organizations came together. I just had so much help, it changed my life. You know, I work with different organizations like Urban Strategy, APR, Hope SF. I mean, just so many that I can't really name. I mean, I've been working from the very beginning. And that made a difference, because a lot of people up here didn't have the opportunity to work or have jobs until you bring this organization in. And they networked together. And they decided, well, we can help this community and also build something and give them a better outlook on life. And that's what they did. You know, I can't wait until they actually finish all of the constructions and see the new apartments and the new homes and the people that's with smiles on their faces that are ready to move in, because none of this was even thought about, you know, 5-10 years ago. You know, so I appreciate all that's been effort. I mean, because personally for myself, it's really been emotional for me, because I grew up here in the Bayview for over 30 years, and to see these changes take place, I'm really proud. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all the services that came together and just network. I mean, they all came hand in hand. And I appreciate the mayor and madam and Gavin Newsom when he was here. You know, I mean, when he was first out here, I was here before they even did the initial groundbreaking. When they were still staying, my unit used to be right there where Nibby trailer is at now. Wow. You know, so I've been here, and I'm just grateful for all the changes that's being made out here. And I appreciate everyone that had anything to do with it. I mean, because what you're doing here, it changes life. You know, you're teaching our youth something. You know, you're giving them work. They're not out in the street. They're not selling drugs. They're not fighting. So you're changing lives. You know, just with Hope SF. You know, they keep us informed. You know, and they make it a difference. You know, they keep us informed on newsletter, help, and they offer all kind of services for us. I mean, it's funny too, because when I first started, I had been laid off for, I guess, 5 years. And when I came in to get some help, I went to Urban Strategy. They helped me with tools, shoes, anything I needed. You know, the resource was there. And then not only after that, when I wanted to go somewhere else, they resourced me out. And that was surprising, because usually in Black neighborhoods, the community, they don't network. And now what they're doing, they're starting to network. And that's what's making it all together. I mean, like I say, I want to give thanks to APRI, YCD, Urban Strategy, Hope SF. I mean, it just a lot of people who I'm grateful for. You know, and I want you all to know they're all doing a tremendous and great job, and for you to continue to support them. Because when you support them, you support me, you support my community, and Bayview as a whole. You help our youth, because now, you know, they don't have to go on what they would call learned behavior. There's someone there breaking the cycle. So there's a change. So thank you.
Now I would like to bring up our esteemed Mayor, Ed Lee.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you. You know, we've said this several times ago when we talked about areas in our Hunters Point and our Bayview. A lot of people use the word hope for many, many years. And I know for a fact, and I know what Mr. Moore talked about, because 10 years ago, Muhammad Noor and I, when we were working at Public Works, we put that sign up right when you turn in. It says, "Welcome to Huntersview." And everybody was telling us, well, wait a minute, why are you making such a pretty sign? This is a public housing place. It says, because it's going to change. And we were bringing hope in little bits at that time. Cleaning up trash here, doing pothole repairs, working with Gavin Newsom to lower the crime that was happening here while people were trying to believe in us. And all those little things were very, very important during those years because there were administrations that were going back and forth. We had Hope 6 projects that had promised a lot of things. And then administrations in the White House changed, and we lost a little bit of footing. And then Gavin said to us, and he brought us all together, and he got Leader Pelosi with us and says, we're not giving up. We're not giving up our people. We're not giving up on change, on transformation in this area. This is our future. This is what we need. And so Hope SF was formed under Gavin's leadership. But he didn't do it alone. He asked for a lot of help. He asked for my help. He certainly asked for Leader Pelosi's help, which was delivered. He asked for help and vision from our redevelopment agency, our housing authority, our friends in the private sector. Everybody pitched in. And now today, we're standing on the first day when things go vertical. Okay, you know what that means. That means that the land is prepared. That means the permits are issued. That means the housing is coming up. But in between this time, when we were talking about hope, there were a lot of things that had to happen. And Mr. Moore is a perfect example because we have 107 units going to be built right here on these first 8 acres. And how are we doing it? Well, we're already. You talk about work hours, 67% of work hours on this site already to date are San Francisco residents working on this site. That's local hire. That's the smart investment. That's what Leader Pelosi and others helped us get was money and investments to make sure our local people were hired. 35% are residents of Hunters View. Thank you, Hope SF and Hunters View Residents Association. Thank you for believing in this, that this day would come, that we would actually be working on the site and building your own housing along with the private housing industry. I want to share with you a couple of other statistics. 45% of all the hours are being done by African Americans in the community. 45%. That's a promise that a lot of people didn't think would ever happen. Then 12.2% by women. By women. So that's another statistic you want to know about. Well, of course, we always say it takes a whole village. And we have a village of entities that have come together in light of delivering on this hope. Certainly, Leader Pelosi and Gavin Newsom with his creation of Hope SF. We have urban strategies. We have our own Office of Economic Development working with Rhonda Simmons and others to make sure we train people, get them ready for these jobs. We weren't kidding when we trained you. This is just the first of many opportunities to come. And you see a workforce right there. I'm very proud of this workforce because I've seen members of this workforce come up and ask me at DPW, when are we getting the jobs? and I remember those. We got a redevelopment agency. Fred Blackwell, thank you very much. You and Mr. Swig on the commission, all the commissioners, Fred, you've been there for us. I want to thank you for that fantastic leadership. Our housing authority is changing. Gosh, if I had known this, maybe I wouldn't did a rent strike out there when I was a young civil rights attorney. But Henry Alvarez and the Commission, you're changing things. Thank you very much, Henry, for being out here. And as Supervisor Malia Cohen said so eloquently, the residents of this place have not only their own hope, they are part of the delivery of hope for everybody else. You know, the indication of success, Tessie, is not just when you get something for yourself, but when you can lift everybody else and then make it good for everybody else. That's that issue of success. And I want to be here with you when you move in, because it's going to be a great day. Fred Olson, Rhonda Simmons, and then our private partners. You know, John Stewart, you've been here for so many years in our city working great projects. You and your team know it very much. You've assembled a great team with Divine and Gong, with Ridgepoint Housing, with the Enterprise Community Partners. All of these partnerships coming together and working with our agencies, that's how we do it. And that's how we're delivering. So you're looking at a very grateful mayor who's been through many different other positions. But every time in every position, we made our way down here. We made our way down there to help. We are still helping. We are still leading. We're going to see these units up and running. And I know Leader Pelosi and I, when we walk down this hill and up the hill, up the other hill, we could visualize those fantastic views for these residents. These are going to be fantastic homes. This morning, I welcomed in over 1,000 people in real estate. They're here on a national convention of all ethnicities. They know San Francisco is a hot market, not only because of Hunter's View, but Hunters Point Candlestick, Treasure Island, Park Merced. We're hot. We are hot. And we know that this has to do with an investment-friendly city, but also a city that knows how to work with its residents and build the future of the city. Thank you very much for being here.
Okay, last but not least, the person who has been a support for us from the beginning. She has brought federal resources to this project. She has sung our song back in Washington to tell everybody how San Francisco does public housing transformation, and they should listen because we care as much about the physical as we do about the people. Anytime that we needed something that took us over the hump, we could always depend on the leader and her staff. And I would like to say thank you and ask you to come up and say a couple words.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amy. It is really a pleasure to be here with all of you, to join the mayor, to join Supervisor Cohen, to join Durrett Moore. Aren't we proud of him and his remarks, Durrett? And of course, to join our great mayor, Mayor Ed Lee, to listen to him talk about over time how he has cared about this area and this particular project tells us that this is going to reach a wonderful, wonderful conclusion, and it will happen soon. But most of all, I join all of them as we recognize our commissioners, the workforce, the construction crew, all the rest, in saluting the residents, because you are our very important people, our VIPs here today. You are what this is about. You are the people that need to be satisfied in what comes next. I want to acknowledge John Stewart and the John Stewart Company, and as well as Jack Gardner, the project manager, for what they are doing here, but for what they have done over the years in the city of San Francisco. It's important for all of us to know that they, working with the public sector, the private sector, the nonprofit sector, have been great leveragers. They have been able to leverage money, leverage low-income housing tax credits, leverage public-private partnerships. They have just been magical in what they have been able to produce from many, many different parts of our community, many different parts of our tax code, many different parts of our federal budget, teaming up with the biggest influence, of course, the city and leadership, in this case of Mayor Lee. But I also want to join in acknowledging Gavin Newsom's priority that he placed on Hunter View, but also other SF Hope projects as well. So the promise of all of this is what we are seeing, and I'm going to refer to it, to create sustainable, mixed income, affordable housing, to get local workers on the job rebuilding their own community, to connect local households to services, schools, transit, and jobs, and to stay true to the principle of one-for-one replacement, ensuring no loss of housing for residents during or after construction. During and after construction. We all know that once finished, Hunters View residents will enjoy a higher quality of life for themselves and their children, and in Tessie's case, grandchildren, with Jesse there, 18 months old and so adorable. He seems to be enjoying the backhoes and all the equipment. And the new Hunters Point Candlestick Point will be a destination for small businesses, retail, commerce, and jobs. I think it's really important to see what this fits into. It fits into over $370 million of federal dollars for the cleanup of Hunters Point. Hunters Point Shipyard. It fits into money coming from the recovery package advanced by President Obama, some of that money in this project. It comes from money from Congress. It comes from more money than just for this project for our community, about $50 million for San Francisco from the recovery package. It's important to note that. And that's only part of what the recovery package brought to San Francisco. And of course, we celebrated last month in the end of August, a $30.5 million grant to redevelop Alice Griffith housing development, again, providing a fresh start for families. So all of this will reap benefits for years to come, but it's important to see its relationship to each other, the experience gained over time by our friends like Jon Stewart, by our nonprofits, by our city officials, on how we can continue to do this better. But the biggest and the strongest voice of all is the voice of the residents, because it is their standard that we want to meet. It is their needs that we must meet. And it is the value that we place in San Francisco on an affordable, decent place for all of our people to live. And while we're building it, for them to have replacement housing at the same time. So after I've been asked by Tessie to meet with some of the residents so I can hear some of their other views, I look forward to that invigorating conversation. But in the meantime, I want to thank all of you, and I particularly, again, want to praise the mayor for what he's doing as mayor and what he has done over time to make this come to fruition, but being such an operational leader in our city for such a long time. To get results, to get the job done, and to get the job done in a way that honors the needs and respects the dignity of every San Franciscan. So congratulations to everyone on Vertical Build Day. Thank you all for having me be part of it. And in closing, I have to commend Amy. Amy is just we're very blessed to have her where she is, Mayor. Thank you for recognizing her talent. And this area is so ably represented by Supervisor Cohen. She's a real fighter for the people of her district and for the people of San Francisco. Because of their work and your involvement, this is not only good for San Francisco, it's a model to the country. Thank you all very much.
All right. Okay, that concludes our program. We actually are going, if folks have any individual questions, we'll take them over here. But feel free to, we've been told by our construction supervisor to get out here pretty fast because he needs to get back to work because time is money. So thank you for coming, and you can exit out of the front way that you came. Thanks a lot.